Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC, your ultimate home for everything Liverpool. Today we've got huge updates coming your way. Hugo Ekitike and Florian Wirtz show their true colors after a tough blow. A fresh Marc Guehi twist sparks new debates. Diogo Jota makes a heartfelt contract gesture. And there's big news around Dominik Szoboszlai's life update that has the squad rallying behind him. Stick around, you won't want to miss this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with every twist and turn in the transfer window. Hugo Ekitike and Florian Wirtz show true colors after brutal Liverpool blow. Liverpool defender Giovani Leone has received advice from Hugo Ekitike and Florian Wirtz after suffering an injury. On his debut against Southampton on Tuesday, Hugo Ekitike and Florian Wirtz have sent heartwarming Liverpool messages to Giovani Leone after he suffered a serious injury in the Carabao Cup win over Southampton. The 18-year-old was impressing on his first start for Liverpool, but his outing ended abruptly when he was carried off on a stretcher in the 81st minute. There were initial concerns over a head injury as he hit a hard floor after the challenge, but it later became clear he could have potentially damaged his knee. Subsequent tests confirmed he had torn the anterior cruciate ligament in his left knee, with the teenager issuing a heartfelt message to his social media account on Wednesday. "I want to sincerely thank every single person who has shown me support in this difficult moment," he wrote on Instagram. "It wasn't the debut I had always dreamed of, but I will give everything to be back playing in this magical stadium as soon as possible." Leone has been sent heart emojis on that post by Virgil van Dijk, Connor Bradley, and Alexander Isak, while Ekitike and Wirtz left some motivational words. He was also in the comments as he said, "You'll come back stronger," 100 and red heart emoji. Ekitike, meanwhile, on his own Instagram story, wrote, "Stay strong, bro," red heart emoji. He also left the win over Southampton earlier than planned after he was sent off. After scoring what ended up being the winner, Ekitike removed his shirt in celebration, which saw him shown a second yellow card. Arne Slot described the 23-year-old's decision as needless and stupid after the game, with that seemingly reflected in a call of his own in the aftermath. According to the Daily Mail, the striker is likely to be docked 2 weeks' wages. He will also serve a one-match suspension this weekend when Liverpool face Crystal Palace, as opposed to being banned for their fourth-round tie against the same opponents. Liverpool handed new Marc Guehi headache after U-turn, and Arsenal contract agreement. Liverpool and Real Madrid have both been credited with an interest in signing Marc Guehi, and the latter are set to miss out on another long-term target from the Premier League. Marc Guehi may have been the one who got away during a historic summer of spending for Liverpool, but it's no secret that the Premier League champions still have designs on bringing the England defender to Anfield. Only an 11th-hour U-turn from the Crystal Palace chairman, Steve Parish, prevented Guehi from finalizing a switch which was already some way down the line at the start of the month. A suspected ACL injury suffered by Giovani Leone has further underlined Liverpool's need for defensive reinforcements and could even force them to accelerate plans to bring Guehi in. The only problem is that Guehi has no issues sitting tight until next summer, where he will have his pick of clubs as a free agent. And while Liverpool may still fancy their chances of landing Guehi then, we now know that the former Chelsea man would relish the chance to hold discussions with Real Madrid over a move to the Bernabeu. Los Blancos are in the market for a new center-back next summer and have already been linked with some of the Premier League's finest, such as Guehi, Liverpool's Ibrahima Konate, and William Saliba. But a move for one of those, at least, is now off the cards, with Saliba agreeing to commit his future to Arsenal. While the mooted 5-year deal agreed between player and club is great news for the Gunners, it's anything but for Liverpool. With Saliba out of the picture, Real Madrid's interest in Konate is only likely to intensify, especially with the Frenchman yet to agree a new contract. With Leone now out of the picture for a significant period, Arne Slot is light on central defenders as it is. Losing Konate would need Liverpool requiring 2 center-halves next summer. And with Guehi able to field offers from across Europe, there's no guarantee that he will still be a lock to fill one of those 2 gaps. The other possible scenario is that Real Madrid do pursue a deal for Guehi and shelve their interest in Konate. That would potentially pave the way for Liverpool to agree a new contract with the latter, but would see them miss out on their no-one defender target. Real Madrid have been long-term admirers of Saliba, but with the France international ready to commit and spend his peak years at Arsenal, all bets are off next summer. Of course, significant developments could occur long before then, such as if Liverpool do try to rekindle a deal for Guehi in January. But if not, the champions are likely to be affected regardless of who Real Madrid choose to pursue out of Guehi and Konate. Diogo Jota Liverpool contract gesture confirmed and emotional. Arne Slot interview. Arne Slot has confirmed that Liverpool honored Diogo Jota's contract in full to support his family following his tragic death in July. Arne Slot has confirmed that Liverpool's owners, Fenway Sports Group, paid out Diogo Jota's contract in full to the Portuguese's family following his tragic passing at the start of July. The forward was killed in a car crash, along with his brother Andre Silva, when traveling across Spain in order to catch a ferry to return to the United Kingdom for the start of pre-season. Joda had 2 years left on his Reds contract at the time of his passing, with reports in Portugal earlier this summer claiming that the club would honor the entirety of his contract. And Slot has now confirmed such a gesture as he reflected on the forward's death, revealing that FSG had paid out on his contract in full to support the player's family. Unfortunately, we had to bring one player more in than we were. Then what was the plan? He told Ali McCoist in an interview with TNT Sports. That's why our spending was higher than intended. The grief of the city. That is what makes it for me so special to work at this club. To work at a club where there is success and there is a parade, of course this parade is bigger than any parade everywhere around the world. But the way they conducted, the fans themselves, after that tragedy. How many flowers there were, all the memorials, I can almost get emotional thinking about it. It's unbelievable what our fans have done. And our players as well, the way they have conducted themselves in and around the funeral. And then we have to train again. And there are moments where I feel, what must his wife and his children feel now? Because it sounds so hard. Our life continues. People expect from me that I prepared them forever. And that sometimes feels a bit difficult. Knowing how hard it is for the family and for the parents. The phase they are still going through and will go through for the rest of their lives. I said how proud I felt about how the fans reacted. But ownership. Owners are mainly criticized like managers. But the way they've handled this situation, by paying his wife and his children all the money from the contract, is commendable. Maybe people think it's normal, but it is not in football. Liverpool chairman Tom Werner alluded to how the club had taken steps to support Jota's widow, Ruth Cardoso, in a recent appearance on the Overlap US earlier this month. He was an extraordinary person, he said. He was beloved, not because he was the leading goal scorer. He was beloved because he was genuinely kind. I found him incredibly curious. When I would have a conversation with him, we would talk a lot about gaming. When he did his goal celebration, he referred to that. He had an esports team, and I think, by reputation, he was one of the best FIFA players in the Premier League. I only mention that because he had a certain breadth of curiosity that drew people to him. He was extremely popular among his teammates. He was extremely popular in the dressing room. What Philipp Lahm and Nick Woltemade said about Florian Wirtz speaks volumes amid. Liverpool questions Florian. Wirtz has yet to hit his stride at Liverpool following his 116 million move from Bayer Leverkusen, but those who know him best suggest he will soon do just that. After a summer of huge upheaval, Liverpool deserve incredible credit for starting the season the way they have. The defending champions sit top of the table of the Premier League, with 5 wins from 5. They have also progressed to the 4th round of the Carabao Cup after a much-changed side won 2-1 at home to Southampton on Tuesday. They have kicked off their Champions League campaign in winning fashion. 2. A quick glimpse at the roster of players head coach Arne Slot now has at his disposal suggests that the Reds are exactly where they should be. But that would fail to pay mention to the massive changes that were made to his squad in the off-season. Refusing to rest on their laurels after returning the Premier League trophy to Anfield, Slot and sporting director Richard Hughes oversaw an unprecedented spending spree that was largely funded by a number of big-money exits. With so many players leaving and new faces arriving, it would not be unfair to suggest that it was always going to take time for Liverpool to click. In fact, despite their record of 7 victories from 7 in all competitions after losing the Community Shield to Crystal Palace on penalties, it would not be unfair to suggest that the Reds have yet to hit top gear from a performance point of view. That is certainly the case with Florian Wirtz, who looked set to be the club's marquee summer, signing until the deadline day arrival of Alexander Isak for a British transfer record 125 million from Newcastle untied. The spotlight was always going to be on Wirtz, given the initial 100 million fee Liverpool paid to prize the golden boy of German football away from Bayer Leverkusen, and there have been glimpses of why he deserves that moniker. He was excellent against Palace at Wembley, and before the international break, he grew in influence in the vital victory at home to Arsenal. The 22-year-old kept his place in the team for the wins over Burnley and Atletico Madrid after the return of club football, but he started on the bench in the Merseyside derby triumph over Everton at the weekend before being given the night off against Southampton in midweek. Whether he starts this Saturday against Palace, the only other team in the top flight yet to taste defeat so far this season, remains to be seen, but he will go into that match with question marks over when Red supporters will truly see the undoubted talent that also brought serious interest from Bayern Munich, as well as Manchester City and Real Madrid before he chose the English champions. Liverpool players support Dominik Szoboszlai after midfielder's huge life update. Dominik Szoboszlai has been supported by a number of his Liverpool teammates after the midfielder posted a picture of himself with his wife and their newborn daughter. Dominik Szoboszlai has received backing from numerous Liverpool colleagues following his Instagram post featuring his wife, Borka Busic, and their newborn daughter. The Reds midfielder and Busic celebrated the arrival of their first child, a baby girl, in early August, with Szoboszlai sharing the joyful news through a joint Instagram announcement. He announced his wife was expecting via a goal celebration during a Premier League game against Brighton in May. Recently, Szoboszlai uploaded an endearing photograph showing himself alongside his wife and their 7-week-old daughter on the platform, accompanied by the simple caption, "Family," plus a red love heart emoji. Following Szoboszlai's post, numerous Liverpool squad members showed their support. Ibrahima Konate, Curtis Jones, Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Kerkez, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson Becker, Hugo Ekitike, Alexis Mac Allister, Stefan Bisetic, Federico Chiesa, and Wataru Endo all liked the post. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Luis Diaz, and Erling Haaland were among his former colleagues to like the post, whilst ex-Liverpool keeper Adrian posted love heart eyes and clapping hands emojis in the comments. Following his wife's delivery, the Hungary international has enjoyed an excellent campaign start. He has featured from the beginning in all 5 Premier League fixtures and netted the decisive goal against Arsenal with a spectacular long-distance free kick. Commenting on Szoboszlai after that free kick goal, Liverpool manager Arne Slot remarked, "He's always been the player that I think he understands what a Liverpool player should look like. If you wear this shirt, you should give everything no matter in what position you play. As a midfielder, he's always the first one to track back and to press high. And today, I don't think he did anything wrong. Unbelievable game from him in the position he probably played only 2 or 3 times in his life. So it tells you a lot about the mentality he has." Szoboszlai was handed a starting berth in Liverpool's most recent Premier League game, the 2-1 triumph against Everton, operating in midfield, having featured at right-back for the preceding 3 encounters. He took the place of Florian Wirtz, who has struggled during his early weeks as a Red, in the central trio alongside Ryan Gravenberch, and Alexis Mac Allister. Liverpool faces a challenging away game at Crystal Palace on Saturday. The Reds have secured victory in all 5 of their opening league encounters and occupy top spot in the table, holding a 5-point advantage over second-placed Arsenal.